Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on Inside OC. Okay, so now we keep chatting. And I lost, by the way, David, I lost the audio. So at the end, when the thing went out, I was just kind of guessing, how did I do on the time? Right on it. Can you believe that?
That's
lost
how
the
good
time
you
with
are.
like 1:50 to go and just winged it.
those
You
are
guys
the
carried it out
chops,
perfectly.
baby.
And how about that? So anyway, let's keep, maybe that'll show up on open mic too, I don't know. But is there anything we didn't cover, Bill, that you thought maybe
Well, there's
a
a
point
gazillion-
you'd like to make?
There's a gazillion initiatives.
Well,
of
yeah.
course,
Well, which one? Any
well,
initiative?
and I guess the more, and Michael kind of got to it, I don't think it's an important safeguard on legislative excess that's good for people to have that check. It's used too much. And some people like to say, well, it's reflective of the fact that they can't make a decision in Sacramento. Well, if you go down this list, there's reasons they haven't abolished the death penalty or legalized marijuana or whatever in Sacramento.
Yeah.
This doesn't reflect stalemate. It reflects genuine debate about what's the right policy. And so then they don't act. They're thinking about it. There's kind of a mulling, long years maybe of mulling. And people go to the ballot because they want to secure an advantage or have their philosophy win. I don't think it's a reason to be critical of government as much as
I think I'm hearing both of you say that it may be kind of like marijuana, you know. It may have its good purposes and it should be there, but it should be used carefully, you know, in moderation or whatever. Maybe that was a terrible analogy. I don't know. That was a terrible analogy. Maybe more like beer, you know, nice to drink, but just don't drink too much of it.
The message it sends, though, you know, you're taxing cigarettes. You know, cigarettes are bad. You increase the taxes on them, and you're legalizing marijuana, but you're taxing them. So, you know, and then you've got condoms in the porn industry. Which, you know, the porn people, a lot of people would say, well, you know, the porn industry, you know, creates a lot of good jobs, right? You know, the irony, a lot of people would say it is just an abomination. But you've got the state of California basically approving of what are just flat out vices if they can get their taxes on them. You know, the tax marijuana, tax cigarettes, it's all good unless, you know, if the state gets its cut of the action.
So is there any solution?
Is there any solution? I think a solution might involve a real competitive system in California where you had a strong Democratic Party and you had a strong Republican Party, each keeping each other honest. And frankly, keeping the worst of their special interests at bay. Democrats have done a terrible job at doing that. Republicans haven't done a great job about it either.
But this isn't the first election where we've had a lot of ballot issues. I didn't go back. This does seem to be rather extraordinary this time, but maybe I can remember almost every election we get lots of issues on the
Not
ballot.
as many for many years.
Yeah, so this is the most in many years.
And they're very substantive.
Remember, there's a reason this happened too, and the reason was that our governor saw fit to ban, you know, publicly originating initiatives from the June ballot. Remember that happened in 2012, or I
so
guess
we've
right
got
before.
like two elections
combined.
worth.
You've got them combined,
Okay,
and so you know, the governor of the state thought that it would be a good idea to look at ballots in November with 17, 18, 20 initiatives where the public has no clue what's on the ballot. I mean, it really, really undermines the strength.
Well, the idea, of course, is they fewer people participate in June.
I get it.
So the idea is let's at least have
so
but
Bill,
what was his idea back when he was Secretary of State, when he was the first Secretary of State in California history to permit initiatives to go on the ballot in June? He was the very same man. You know, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Jerry's done that on a couple of things, right? Where he was on one side, then he got a little older, and he's in. And
the question is why that happened.
Well,
why do you think that happened?
I think it's good that people can change their mind. You know, they looked at the result and said this was a bad idea. Yeah. Let's have more people
it's a sign of flexibility.
So, Bill, your thoughts? Being somebody who knows the system as well as anyone, do you think there's anything that could be done to maybe modify the initiative process, or is it what it is and we have to live with it?
I think it's unlikely to change. Really, voters just saying we don't do that. Yeah, that, you know.
And so if you were czar and you could change it, you really wouldn't? You'd leave it as it is?
Well, if I could change it, you know, the one I like, but it's not working yet, is let the initiative sponsors go back to the legislature, try one more time before they proceed to the ballot. Now, it hasn't worked.
We threatened you with a hammer, but now we're really threatening you with a hammer.
But it's better to at least have some little interrupt mechanism. Now, we've also talked about, you know, when you say you're filing an initiative, you incur all these public costs, and it's just a press conference. Normally, most of them don't collect a single signature. And, you know, maybe that sort of thing should be discouraged because it just feeds this frenzy of looking for an initiative that someone will pay for. And then you have the thing Michael mentioned of, you know, the consultants or special interests that pile on with lots of money.
Driving the whole thing. The whole thing. And nobody really talks about that. But it's a major influence on California politics.
Now, if you applied conflict of interest laws that we have as lawyers to consultants, there might be a change.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. So what's a conflict? What's a conflict with a consultant?
I see consultants that work opposite sides of different matters, you know, and they don't have a conflict of interest. You mean like if you were for, let's say, just you were for plastic bags in one election, and now you're against plastic bags in another. You're saying no, in the same election.
In the same election. How can you do that?
They're firms.
Okay, so, but there's no rule against that now. Yeah, it's good to be a consultant, right? Yeah. Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Great discussion. Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Thanks, Rick.
Michael, pleasure.
Good to see you. Enjoyed it.